compañeros. Elections under capitalism mean very little, almost nothing to us. They are mainly a nuisance. When the class struggle is down more than anything, capitalist elections function like a humongous vacuum cleaner, serving mainly to suck the life out of the movement. I am going to nonetheless focus a bit on the recent midterm elections to argue for some of the main political points we want to make at this historic conference. And this conference is historic because it takes place at a time of development in the capitalist system like none other. No communist or class-conscious organizer has faced what we are facing. Imperialism and capitalism are at a unique point in development. This is not a particular capitalist crisis, but a crisis of the entire system. This is not your common boom and bust crisis, but one with absolutely no answer to the growing unemployment or any of the myriad of problems our class face here and around the world. This is a crisis with a jobless recovery, and that's new. Now, does this mean that we cannot win jobs in this period? Absolutely not. It only means that we must revive the class and the ideological struggle in order to win the jobs and rights workers deserve, including legalization for the undocumented. Struggle, and within this, address the Latino question in relation to the elections and beyond. Immigrants and Latinos are just one sector of the working class, but there are important lessons from this struggle that can be drawn that are useful for the class struggle. The movement for immigrant rights, like many other movements, is at a crossroads. It is an example of how urgent the need is to revive the ideological struggle. Activists have to put on class-conscious glasses in order to not only survive, but to move the struggle forward. Jon Stewart did attack Marxism at his silly, obtuse, but dangerous rally in Washington. But only Marxism will provide the tools to understand and put an end to the crisis we face. How else can immigrant activists analyze the significance or the meaningless of the elections and their relevance to passing pro-immigrant legislation? The Latino vote in many areas of the country, especially in the West and Southwest, was crucial to what Democratic victories there were. The re-election of Harry Reid is the biggest example. But so what? This gets us nothing. It will not get us legalization, much less advance the struggle. Latinos, in this case I'm going to call them Hispanics because that's what they are, were elected in record numbers as Republicans, like anti-immigrant Mark Rubio in Florida. Rubio's election with that of Republican Governor Rick Scott in Florida led to immigrants commenting afterwards with great fear about their future. Here's where we point out that history shows that it does not matter who is in Washington. What matters is who is in the streets demanding what is ours. Legislation. And there is the alarming implementation of 287G, legislation initiated by President Clinton, strengthened by Bush, and expanded by President Obama that has led to a wave of racial profiling. 287G is singling out immigrants for arrest without suspicion of crime, selling DVDs on a corner, or a tragic domestic violence can quickly lead to deportation. It is understandable how the fear of the right wing, how the racist rhetoric of Tea Party candidates, how Arizona, and above all, the economic crisis propelled many Latinos and others to pull the Democratic Party lever. But we gained nothing. In fact, it's a setback. The Democrats have done nothing but sell out the immigrant rights movement again and again and again. There are pillars of our party work that are important to point out. Our work is guided by the teachings of Marx, Lenin, and Sam Marcy, our founder. Our view on self-determination and support of the oppressed play into everything we do. We pay attention to the nuances and delicacies in every coalition. We worry when and how to criticize and whether we should criticize at all. These are important questions that must be gotten right to advance the struggle. One of the most debated developments in the immigrant rights movement is the DREAM Act. This is a bill introduced in 2001 called Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors. It would provide undocumented students conditional legal status and eventual citizenship if they meet all these requirements. If they are below the age of 35, they must have come to the U.S. before they turned 16. They must have graduated from high school or obtained a GED. They must have so-called good moral character, in other words, not Congress. And they can have no criminal record. And the cookie on the cake is they must attend college or enlist in the military. The debate has centered around this last part. We all know there is little opportunity to attend college. Jobs are scarce. In fact, we are competing with jobs with workers in our homelands like never before. The passage of DREAM Act comes down to a recruitment tool for the imperialist armed forces. It is a forced draft of our immigrant youth. No question about it. But our party and the coalitions we work with have supported the students and youth in this movement. How can you not, when undocumented youth have heroically risen up in defiance and declared, "I am undocumented and I am unafraid." And after 10 years of fighting for this bill, they are angry. This is a complex and even heartbreaking issue. But tell me, who will win the hearts and minds of these youth? Who will win the allegiance of all the workers and the oppressed? Who will see to it that the working class is marching not to the voting booth, but to the streets in front of Wall Street, the Pentagon, and the White House? Who will provide the analysis for the masses as they face unemployment and all the rest? Who will point the way out? Who will support the youth who yearn for legalization, but also point out in the most thoughtful and sensitive way? What will happen if the DREAM Act passes as is? What will that legalized youth do when he or she is sent to Colombia to kill trade unionists or the rebels in the jungle? What will that legalized youth do when he or she is sent to the U.S.-Mexican border and they are ordered to turn their guns on an immigrant family crossing the very same dangerous border their family did?
Oh, hey.
Who will be there to provide much-needed optimism to our youth and revolutionary analysis? Who will tell them how important it is to join in the anti-war movement as they fight for the DREAM Act? And tell me, how will you get into the door to raise this analysis if you are attacking their struggle? In this period of reaction, in the wake of the fall of the Soviet Union, The workers and oppressed in this country are completely in the throes of bourgeois ideology. But what will prevail? Will it be the ideology of our party or that of the Democratic Party? I mean, really, I ask you, is there even a question of who should be speaking at national demonstrations in Washington, Jon Stewart or Larry Holmes? I mean, really. And friends, make no mistake about it. Whatever the outcome of the elections, Latinos are not for sale. Our history is ripe with revolutionary fervor. We need only to recapture it. When we do, the masses of Latinos will join all the working class, and we will orient not to Colin Powell, but to Mumia Abu-Jamal, not to the Democratic Party, but to the Cuban Communist Party, not to Mark Rubio, but to Fidel Castro, not to Governor Miguel Martinez, but to revolutionary sister Lolita Lebron. And we will build Workers' World Party. We will revive the ideas of Che Guevara, a maximum revolutionary leader of Latino heritage. Che said, the basic clay of our work is the youth. We place our hope in it and prepare it to take the banner from our hands. This is yet another reason why we must not allow our youth to die for legalization. That is why we must fight for and win legalization even in this period, no matter who wins the fucking election. Che also said, we must bear in mind that imperialism is a world system, the last stage of capitalism, and it must be defeated in a world confrontation. Comrades and friends, let us begin that world confrontation right here, right now, in the belly of the beast. The time has come. The time is now. There is no way forward for revolution. The capitalist system has run its course. There is no other option but to abolish it and build socialism. I spent a lot of time Thursday trying to get some of the DREAM Act students to come to our conference. And there's a lot of fear. But I say to you, have no fear. A better, wonderful world is in birth. Long